Winnie the Pooh ABC's Discovering Letters and Words is so charming. I recently watched Winnie the Pooh 1, 2, 3s, and being a writer, I was really looking forward to the one that dealt with words. And I have to say, it's delightful. This was released in 2004, directed by Katona and Ed Wexler, and half of it is about rhymes, and Christopher Robin has drawn some lovely pictures of his friends and written a little rhyme about each one. And he asks Pooh Bear to identify the words that rhyme, and then Pooh Bear starts to say his own rhymes. And I think that this is such a great way to encourage children to think about rhymes and to think about the sounds that the words are making. And it's a nice little look at beginners poetry, which is something that I think is really beautiful. And then Owl teaches them about letters, and he points out that Piglet and Pooh start with the same letter, and as do Roo and Rabbit. And we also have Eeyore and Eeyore, and we are being taught how to write these letters on chalkboards, and there are some really good close-ups of the letters being drawn, so young viewers can see quite clearly how to do those letters. And I think it's done in a pace where if a child is sitting with some paper in front of them, or indeed a chalkboard as well, they can copy along. And Eeyore makes a mistake, and Owl is very very reassuring of Eeyore. Everything's fine, just erase it and do it again. And I think that that's a really great confidence builder, especially as Eeyore didn't even want to do it because he was worried he'd mess it up, which I think a lot of children do feel like that. I mean, a lot of grown-ups feel like that. If you think you're going to mess it up, you're significantly less likely to give it a try. But of course, childhood is all about trying things because you never know what you're good at. And a lot of children might be, in fact, are not fans of learning because they're worried they won't be able to get it. But there's a beautiful quote in this, and I wrote it down. I absolutely love it. And it's something Owl said. And Owl said, "When he doesn't know something, it's the perfect opportunity to learn." And I love that. I think nobody should ever feel bad about not knowing something or not knowing how to do something. Instead, they should try and see it as a positive, as an opportunity for learning. And I love that. I just thought it was a brilliant sentiment, and it's a very educational episode. It's also got a bit of a narrative where something happens to Christopher Robin's pages, and Pooh Bear and the gang have to learn how to write and create these rhymes and things. So there is also an overarching narrative to tie everything together. But even if it didn't have that, it's still a delightful discovery of, as the title suggests, letters and words, but also rhymes as well. It is really awkward that there's an apostrophe in the official title for this, because that's grammatically incorrect, and this is supposed to be teaching children how to properly use words and language, and it gets it wrong in the official title and in the official marketing material. So that's very cringe. It wasn't so bad when they got it wrong with 1, 2, 3s. The apostrophe was in there as well. It annoyed me, but not as much because it's numbers. But when you're dealing with letters and words, and you misuse an apostrophe, it kind of doesn't tell me that you know what you're talking about. For example, if I was a parent and I saw this on a video shelf, 2004, might have been released on DVD, I think it was. If I saw this randomly on a DVD shelf in a store and I didn't know who Winnie the Pooh was, I would not buy it. Because if you can't get the grammar right in your marketing, and bearing in mind this would have gone through a lot of people before the final version was printed, then I don't trust you to teach my child. But obviously it's Disney, they can get things wrong and it's still going to sell copies. But thankfully, the information in the actual, DVD in the actual film itself is very fun, very engaging, very easily explained. There wasn't anything where I found the grammar was wrong, so that's good. But yeah, if you're going to get it wrong, first impressions count. But never mind. Other than that, other than the fact that this English language based educational short film doesn't know how to use an apostrophe, it is very fun. And I'd say it's pretty decent and a really good way to introduce children initially about rhymes and listening to sounds, or listening to the sounds of words. And then it moves on to teach them about letters and how to form letters and ultimately use those letters to form more complex words. Very sweet, very educational. The rogue apostrophe aside, Winnie the Pooh ABCs is really delightful.